The arc of human history is inexorably bent towards innovation, towards automation. I would go so far as to say it is a uniquely human thing. It separates us from the rest of the animals. Our ability to take objects, to take things we find in our world, and make our lives easier. It's inescapable. We will never, ever stop innovating. We will never, ever stop automating. One of the things, even though this is what we've been doing throughout all of human history, we're still really not very good at understanding what the potential unintended consequences are of the things we create. In fact, we're really quite bad at it. And so throughout human history, as technologies have advanced, they have come with their own sets of fears. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, if you wanted to learn anything, you had to be sitting face to face with someone. We learned through storytelling. That's the way we learned. For millennia, there was only one way to get educated. And then this technology came around. It was called writing. A lot of you don't look at writing as a technology, but it is. It's a technology. And when writing came about, Socrates said, it's going to destroy our ability to learn. Think about it. Writing will destroy our ability to learn. Why did he think that? Because writing couldn't talk back to you. Writing can't answer the question. You look at the writing on the page, it's just the writing on the page. You ask it a question, it gives you back exactly the same answer you're looking at. It can't teach. And so Socrates never wrote anything down. Plato had to write things down for him. Plato was his student. Socrates trained Plato. Plato trained, it went down the line. He was wrong for years and years and years, but he was right. He just missed his timing. Writing didn't destroy our ability to think until Twitter came around. And so, thousands of years go by. Gutenberg decides this is crazy because we had books, but how were books created? Monks, sitting alone, letter by letter, transcribing one book to the other, sitting, taking notes. If you had a book, you were wealthy. Books were the most valuable thing. So Gutenberg comes along with the Gutenberg press. He has no idea what the unintended consequences were going to be of the Gutenberg press. All he wanted to do was spread the Catholic faith. But see, a funny thing happens when you put information into the hands of people who've never had it before. They begin to think their own thoughts. And instead, what did he do? He informed the Reformation. He changed the world. His innovation changed the world. He could never have anticipated that. And that only lasted for about 400 years. And 400 years later, we get computer typesetting, and they could never have understood that by putting this in digital form and handing it over to Adobe, what they would be empowering is the demise of printing by making all of this available online. See, we can't see what the unintended consequences are of these technologies, and yet we continue. We push, we push, we push, we push, because that's what we are. It's part of what makes us human. Henry Ford, when he created the assembly line, what was his intention here? To make an affordable car that more people could have. He wanted the people who worked in his factories to be able to afford the cars that they could make. But in producing that assembly line, what he enabled was this. He could never have foreseen this future. I want you to look at this. How many humans are in this photo? 2. What are they doing? They're just monitoring the robots. See, this is how cars are made, which is why I laugh when we think we're going to bring jobs back to the United States in these sectors. No, we're going to bring a lot of robots back. See, this is the way the world works. We automate. And if we haven't learned this yet, I'm going to, for the next few minutes, try to scare the crap out of you. Because I believe, and you already know this, for many, many, many tasks that we do, humans are replaceable. And I honestly believe that anything can be automated. Anything. And what do I mean by anything? How many of you have heard of CRISPR? The CRISPR gene drive? Raise your hand. So, CRISPR's cool, right? I mean, we really only sequenced DNA a few years ago. And in the short period of time between when we finished sequencing DNA and today, we can now, using CRISPR, go in and alter a human's DNA permanently, accurately, every single time. The only thing stopping us from doing it is policy and ethics. We can alter anyone's DNA in any way we choose. Now here's the thing. So one of the scientists at MIT is sitting in Boston looking over a pond, and he sees a turtle. And he's in deep contemplation, and he says, how disappointing it is that I could take that turtle back to my lab and I could make it better. But the moment I release it back out into the wild, evolutionary processes take back over, and now all of what I just did for that turtle goes away. And he said, gosh, wouldn't it be great if I could somehow ensure that that positive change that I made in that turtle could be passed on from generation to generation? So he started doing some research. Now here's the crazy thing. In less than 48 hours, he figured out a way to insert the code into the DNA that would make the change he made in that turtle permanent throughout every generation of that turtle. He was able to change the DNA of a species, a single human, altering the course of an entire species, literally putting a small little DNA robot inside of the DNA to ensure that change. We can automate anything. In the real estate world, one of the companies we invest in at Second Century Ventures is called Paraffin. Paraffin takes a whole bunch of data. Typically, you want to talk about a brand. So a hotel brand has standards on which they want a hotel to be built. There are certain things that every hotel has to contain. One of the hardest parts about going in and building a new project is site selection. I need to choose the site. I need to choose the configuration. And as fast as the computer can churn it out, it creates 3D models and floor plans of these buildings and full pro formas of profit and loss to allow people to make better decisions about where to build these hotels. You can automate anything. And so, if we're to look at the potential of innovation and automation and where tech trends are going to go, we have to take a breath and we have to redefine what a robot is, because the most powerful robots will have no physical form. So here's the problem. We fear that computers are going to get so smart they're going to take over the world, but in reality, computers are too stupid and they've already taken over the whole world. Google and Facebook, they already shape how we see the world. You know this intuitively. We are being controlled by robots already. Do you know that it wasn't that long ago that 90% of stock trades were actually done discretionarily? Like a human made a decision to sell a stock. That's a really quaint thought now. Today, less than 10% of stock trades are actually made by a real human being. 90% of stocks are traded algorithmically. A computer makes the decision to sell the stock. When the stock market crashes, a computer decided that, a robot decided that. When the stock market goes up, a robot decided that, a piece of math decided that. And there's nothing we can do about it. Not a darn thing. You can fight all day long if you want. See, the speed of change today is unlike anything we've seen, and it's not going to slow down, because even though we're not seeing the same kinds of doubling of speeds in chipsets, we're seeing whole new kinds of computer chips being created, neuromorphic chips. are changing the way we compute. The new iPhone that just came out, I'm not as excited about the camera as I am excited about the 2 artificial intelligence chips that are sitting inside of it that do nothing but process machine learning tasks. That's it. That's all they're there for. The power that's in these iPhones is unbelievable. And so there's 3 broad tech trends that I think are going to impact real estate. The first of these is automation. And I'm going to say there's 100 billion reasons why this is the #1 trend to watch in real estate. And where do those 100 billion reasons come from? See, what we've seen to date has all been focused on the front end of the real estate transaction. Zillow, all of these companies that you know now by name that have sort of made their way in, they've all focused on the front end of the transaction. But if you look at this, 2018, $1.7 trillion in sales volume. Estimated transaction fees, of which you all play a part, correct? $170 billion. The estimate is there's $100 billion of transaction automation potential sitting there for people. So the money that you're seeing coming into the real estate industry on the technology side today is all focused on that back end. It's 10 times, think about this, 10 times more valuable than what we've seen to date. Made possible only by the kinds of computer advances that we've seen in the last 20 years. And so, Zillow, many of you, raise your hand if you don't know Zillow. Okay, thank you. Do you know that they've never made a dime? Like they've never had a profitable quarter.
We made more profit than Zillow.
Pillar to Post has made more profit than Zillow. They've never had a profitable quarter. And so Natalia is, she's the founder of a company called Proppy that I'll talk about in a second. It's a blockchain company. She's basically saying they can't make money that way. In the technology space, if you want to make money, you've got to get inserted into the transaction fee. You've got to become a mortgage provider, or a real estate brokerage, or an escrow, or a title company. And I believe that's true. Talked privately to Steve Bentz at our booth about some other projects he's working on. He'll tell you that's true as well. And so this is where we find ourselves. Automated in the real estate industry doesn't mean no realtor. And it certainly doesn't mean no inspector. And I need you to take that in your brain very, very clearly. There are certain functions that are never going to go away as a result of process automations on the other side. Your job may get easier. The realtor's job may get easier, but the realtor's not going away, and neither is the home inspector. The win is in removing costs and friction. That's the win. Increased profitability, increased efficiency. And so there's 3 main tech revolutions that are going to be driving automation: artificial intelligence, blockchain, and natural language processing. And I want to talk a little bit about those as well. And I have to talk really, really fast because I have 63 slides. That was the scary part, in case you were wondering. See, AI is actually the power behind all of it. And we throw around this concept of artificial intelligence kind of loosely today, but the true artificial intelligence, the stuff that involves deep learning, machine learning, is literally changing the world. I believe this statement: artificial intelligence is the new electricity. I want you to imagine today that we leave this place and the electricity all over the United States is just out. Only a few of my relatives in West Virginia will survive. Seriously, what would we do without it? But I'm telling you right now, without artificial intelligence, electricity wouldn't even work. The vast majority of our electrical grid is monitored by the same kinds of computers and processes and algorithms and math that make certain that the stock market runs properly. AI stops working, the world stops working. And that's not slowing down, that's not becoming less, it's becoming more. As we get better at understanding the math required to do these things, we get deeper and deeper and deeper into a situation where the AI breaks down, the world doesn't work anymore. And so this is how it works. What's the generator behind this? It's super fast computer chips all the world's data available online, which is why China is leading in a lot of this, because they don't have any privacy issues with their data. We actually don't either. We just like to say we don't. And deep learning. And so these concepts about artificial intelligence, you're hearing more about it now, but it's not that it hasn't been worked on. People have had concepts about how to make this happen since 1950. But something happened in 2012 that really changed the world, and it happened as a result of computer games. And a lot of what you see happening on the innovation side in artificial intelligence technology happens in games first, because as humans, don't we learn as children with games? That's how we learn. Well, guess what? That's how computers learn turn, and that's how we learn whether or not the algorithms we create work. So 2012, what happened? NVIDIA creates a chip to do what? Make it possible for us to play fake football on a TV screen, Madden. The chips, you realize to make a face look smooth, it's billions and billions of polygons. The amount of math required to draw those objects on the screen it's beyond your ability to comprehend. And so these chips change the world. All of a sudden, now we've got these computer chips that allow us to do things that we've only imagined in our brains. And 2012 is when it hit the mainstream, not because the ideas were new, but because we finally had the opportunity to do something with it. And some of you may have heard a couple of years ago, AlphaGo. Google created an algorithm that beat a Chinese master at the game of Go, the ancient game of Go. Probably remember years ago when Kasparov was beaten by Deep Blue in chess, that was a big deal. Your iPhone can beat any chess master in the world now. That's how far we've come. And so why was this a big deal? Why was AlphaGo such a big deal? Because there are as many moves, many potential moves in the game of Go as there are atoms in the universe. You can't just brute force math it. When AlphaGo beat this chess master, it was a sign that this was a general artificial intelligence algorithm. It made an intuitive move. One of the plays that it made, the experts watching it said, oh, it made a mistake. No, it made a play that threw the opponent off. It made an intuitive move, not a logical move, not a rational move, not a math-based move. And so Google knew that they had stumbled onto something amazing. Blockchain, second technology. It's not just a buzzword. It has the potential. A lot of people are using blockchain for the wrong things, but the concepts behind the blockchain, this immutable record, the tokenization of things, will change the way we look at real estate. It will enable liquidity in real estate in ways that we've never seen possible before. And so there are a couple of companies that I want you to take a look at. Take a look at Propy. They're part of our Second Century Ventures portfolio. They're a blockchain company, online closing for agents, transaction management. And I want you to take a look at this company based out of Canada, Imbix.com. Imagine you've got an extra $100 sitting around and you've got lots of different ways to invest it. What if you could buy real estate? See, blockchain enables a completely different way of thinking about how you can deal with real estate, which is why it's an important technology to watch. And the last tech revolution that's going to change everything, and I believe this is the holy grail, is natural language processing. And what do I mean by that? The ability for us to talk naturally to our computers and have them talk back to us will change our world forever. And so our children today grow up in a world vastly different than the world that we grew up in. We are going to see our computer as a trusted friend, more so than we do today. You think you spend a lot of time talking to your iPhone or staring at your iPhone or doing, you have no idea how much time you're going to spend talking to your computer. And our kids won't even think twice about it. About a year, how long ago was it, Steve? how old's Ellie now? 2 years ago? 2 years ago, Steve sent me this video. It was the night before a presentation. And you'll see, he said, you're going to appreciate it. I said, may I use this in my presentation tomorrow? And it's the perfect example of why the things we fear are just going to be normal to our kids.
Alexa, play Jingle Bell Mickey Mouse.
Jingle Bells Vocal by Mickey's Friends and Mickey Mouse on Amazon Music.
Okay, I love this little girl to death. And apparently she loves me too, because we FaceTimed last night for about 10 minutes and it was glorious. But here's the thing. I could barely understand what she was asking for. But see, Alexa has learned what her voice, and she talks to Alexa like a friend. And now her younger brother, who's only 2, talks to Alexa like it's a friend. And so you can decry all you want that Alexa doesn't give you everything you want. Alexa's not the smartest smart device out there. Google is actually way smarter, way more accurate. Their Google Home devices are way more accurate than Alexa. But here's the thing. We are literally just at the beginning. But our kids are going to experience the world in ways we never could possibly have imagined. And so, where is it going? Where are we working? I first heard of this company, and I'm going to go a little bit over, Dan, and I apologize. Conversica, from the CEO of BombBomb in a bar. I said, what's the coolest thing you've done this year? He goes, Conversica. And he started talking about Amy Dawson. Well, I know his wife's name is Amy. What do you mean? This virtual assistant we put in. Listen to this.
I'm Ben Brigham, and I founded Conversica. We created Conversica to solve a really simple problem so that salespeople could spend their time talking to the right people at the right time.
One of the classic problems that every salesperson has is, how do I prioritize my time? Even if it's a relatively small amount of leads, still knowing where you put your time and energy to increase your closing rate is a hard challenge. Conversica uses an artificial intelligence-powered sales assistant to engage leads, qualify those leads, and elevate the most promising leads directly to the attention of a salesperson.
A lot of people think that AI works by identifying keywords. Our AI actually looks at the whole message and understands the meaning or meanings contained within that, and then chooses the correct action based on that interpretation.
Our virtual assistant, she starts a real conversation with the customer and she asks him whether he's interested or whether it's a good email to reach him at. She never gets tired. She has all her focus on one customer at a time, and she does it all day long, and she keeps track of it. We actually tuned how our virtual assistant interacts with our customers over the many years we've been doing this. We have hundreds of millions of messages. We know what consumers respond to. We make sure she's not rude. She's very attentive. She kind of like says the right thing at the right time, doesn't hit them too hard, warms them up a little bit, then brings them in.
What's great about Conversica is we call her Stephanie. She's the best employee we have.
She's the best employee we have. He's talking about a piece of code. He's talking about math. She's the best employee we had. He says to me after he tells me the story in the bar, our most requested employee to meet when someone comes to visit our office is Amy Dawson. She's not even real. And so Google, some of you may have seen this. I'm going to play a short snippet of it because I want you to get a feel for it. But I want to show you a year later because a lot of people thought, oh, it's just a demo. It's no big deal.
So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second.
All right. That's a computer talking to a real human being, scheduling a hair appointment. Now, I'm as cynical as anyone else is about these demos, okay? 1 year, almost to the day later, this is real. And I'm gonna tell you something. It's available to you on your phone and you don't even know it. Whether you have an Android phone or whether you're on an iPhone, if you go to Google Assistant and you say, make me a restaurant reservation tonight, you're gonna be walked through a series of questions to help you decide which restaurant you want. And if that restaurant isn't available via Open Table, the Google Assistant will call that restaurant and make the reservation for you and put it in your calendar. It happens today. This is real. This is live.
Hello, Barcelona, may I help you?
I can barely understand the restaurant owner.
Hello?
Hi, I'm calling to make a reservation. I'm Google's
That's a
automated booking
computer.
service, so I'll record the call. Could I book a table for Tuesday the 21st?
Okay. Hello?
I'd like to make a reservation for a client. It's for Tuesday the 21st.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the end of this story? The reservation gets booked. The computer talks to the human. Like I said, I can barely understand the human. See, it starts in very small, defined segments. It starts with little things. You perfect it in that, and then you expand out. AI is hard. Stop by our booth later. We'll talk to you about some of the AI we're using to get to the floor plans we create. AI is hard. It takes a lot of training. But we're going in really amazing places. We're going to be able to replicate your voice.
After it. Never once did she consider how in the world she was to get out again. My voice might be generated by a computer, but I think it sounds pretty human. I don't know exactly how they made it, but I'm really impressed.
Most often during the fall, so it is especially important for boaters to be cautious during this time of year. My voice might be generated by a computer, but I think it sounds pretty human. I don't know exactly how they made it, but I'm really impressed.
And if you think we've got a problem with fake news now, watch this.
I should probably get in shape this year. I should probably attend brand conference this year.
I'm going to be able to edit the voice by just typing it in. I'm going to be able to make people say things. We can already recreate human faces randomly. We can take 7 images of a human's face and we can make that face move in any direction we want and make it say anything we want. See, we have no idea what the potential unintended consequences are of the technologies we build. We can build literally anything. The second trend is augmentation. Augmentation is basically laying a layer over the world that actually exists with information that we know. We put it in front of our eyes. What does that look? Again, it starts with games. Facebook puts up these cute little things. What are they really doing? They're mapping your face. They're mapping your face. For what purpose? To sell you things. See, it starts with you putting on funny glasses, and then it moves over to, Michael Kors being able to put the glasses on your face without leaving the Facebook stream. See, we're in a world where we're going to begin expecting this. This is how trends work. Our children see this all the time. Do a Google search for how big is a wolf. And if you're on an Android phone right now, you're going to be able to meet a life-size wolf. You're going to be able to click on that little view in 3D button, and you're going to be able to place the wolf in your home, and you can see how big is a wolf in my home. It starts with animals, and soon it'll be any object you want. See, this is where the world's going. And consumers will begin to expect this more and more and more and more. And so Google Lens, I used this in Chile last year. Picture me, guy from West Virginia. I'm in Chile at a Chinese restaurant where they only speak Spanish. I'm trying to order Chinese food in a Spanish restaurant. I got Google Lens out. It's translating the menu for me into English. Then I'm speaking into Google Translate, and it's talking to her in Spanish. Then I'm holding it up to her. She's talking in Spanish. It's translating it back to me in English. It is the proverbial Babel fish. It changes the world. They just talked about it earlier. Innovation changes the world. It made my world smaller and gave me what I would have thought 10 years ago was superhuman capabilities. Watch a bit of this.
मेरा नाम उर्मिला है, ईपी की रहने वाली हूँ। मेरे 3 बच्चे हैंगे, स्कूल में जाते हैं और बच्चों को होमवर्क नहीं करा सकते हैं, लेकिन चलो मेरे बच्चे होशियार हो गए, थोड़ा सा नेक पढ़ लिख जाते, कोई भी पढ़ा लिखा को काम भाव वो नहीं कर सकते हैं। बार बार कहने पड़ती है उन लोगों के कि मतलब थोड़ा सा बता दिए। मुझे पहली बार जैसे बच्चों को मतलब बार बार कप्ता नहीं आ रही थी, मतलब फोटो लाई।
1 कप सोयाबीन बहियों में 4 कप पानी डालकर।
She's reading for the first time. See, innovation changes the world. It changes our lives. It's unspeakable, the things we're capable of doing today. Crisp AI, which was just up on the screen, these guys, Dan and Charles, have seen it. You know, it used to be, let me go back. Let's see if I can go back. It used to be, so you probably know this. People on the East Coast don't give a crap what time it is on the West Coast. So if you've got a 9 o'clock morning on the East Coast, they don't care that you're up at 6 o'clock. So during summer break, I'd go down to a coffee shop, Starbucks, and I'd get on a conference call with Dan and Charles and all these other people. Well, it's noisy in a coffee shop, but see, augmented reality is more than you think. Augmented reality layers something over your reality to make your reality better. What does Crisp AI do? It's only available on the Mac, so for all you PC users out there, you can't do it, but it's changed my life. I can stop and have a conference call anywhere because I just turn on Crisp.ai, it blocks out all the background noise, and I can have a conference call. I can actually turn it on for the speaker on the other side too, so if they're in a coffee shop, it knocks out all their background noise. See, that's augmented reality. Augmented reality in the real estate industry is going to look a little bit like this.
See a variety of homes on a piece of land before they decide to buy. The Home Previewer, a mobile app from Clayton, uses augmented reality to let you see different home models on whatever piece of land you want.
And you can walk into it and you can see out the window view on how you've placed it on the land. See, that's augmented reality. That's adding a layer on top of it. And then the last trend, the one that you need to be paying attention to, is virtualization. We're going to walk into places we can't visit. We're going to visit worlds that don't exist. And our kids do it without even thinking about it. I realized how, we view a difference between this virtual world and reality, but our kids don't. I was listening to my 2 younger sons talk about 2 months ago. And they were talking about something, and it took me about a minute before I realized they're talking about something that took place in Overwatch. They're not even talking about something that happened in reality. They were talking about a sequence of actions and events that took place with their friends, because they get on these games and they're talking to their friends and they're playing with them. My 19-year-old didn't get his driver's license till a month and a half ago. Do you realize that more than half of US kids today don't get their driver's license till after 18? I couldn't wait to get my driver's license. They don't need to because they're in constant communication with their friends. If I wanted to talk to my girlfriend, I couldn't even call her. My dad would be in the back row going, "Get off the phone, somebody might be trying to call." The world has changed. Minecraft. My son is 17, he still goes into Minecraft and plays in this virtual world and talks to his friends while he's doing it. See, our kids are growing up in a space where this is what they expect. We get a 3-dimensional view. I went shopping for a lens the other day. I can spin this lens around. I can turn it in any way I want. A lens, a purse in 3D, 360. You think this isn't what people are going to expect? This is an 8K 360 video camera paused on YouTube. I want you to look at the quality of this. This is where the technology is going. This stitches in real time. And so 3D 360 tours, there has never been an imaging technology more perfectly suited for the real estate industry than 3D 360. And so many of you come up to us and say, "Yeah, our realtors are doing that all the time." No, they're not. We counted painstakingly about 1.5 years ago. We chose 100 markets, and we went into every single listing. Every single one that said they had a virtual tour had a slideshow. And the only ones that actually had a true virtual tour, what percentage of homes actually had, and anyone who's already talked to me at the booth, you don't get to answer. What percentage of homes actually had a virtual tour? 2.7%. 2.7%. Someone recently, as part of our pilot, said, oh, our realtors already do that. I asked what zip code they were in, and I went and counted myself again. 1.7%. 1.7% of everybody does it. No, 98% don't. And so the real estate industry is not delivering on this, and consumers want it. How badly do consumers want it? 84% say they want a VR tour before they even go visit a house. 62% of them said, I would choose my realtor side by side, one who did a virtual tour over one who doesn't use virtual tours. And 94% of realtors says they know that, and yet they won't change their behavior. See, the real opportunity that we've got here is to do something for their clients that they are not doing for their clients. You actually have the ability to change their world. You actually have the ability to do this. See, this is where we sit. The opportunity at hand is to give the consumer what I'm viewing as a combination of augmented and virtual reality. You've got the virtual reality of being able to walk into the home, and then you've got the augmentation of putting an information layer over top of that that gives them access to it. You have the opportunity to change their world, and I mean that literally, and not just the consumer, I mean the realtor too, to wake them up to the fact that this is something that's going to happen. When 71% of the realtors who use this have said, I would choose to use pillar to post again because of this technology, is because intuitively they know this is what their customers want. See, the world's moving fast. It's time to keep up, and I believe you're about ready to do that. Thank you.